Hey, good morning. How's it going? Good. How about myself? Could not be better. God, that snowstorm in the central US last week was a disaster. You read the news? You saw reports? Sure you did. I start to miss those. That was literally Snowmageddon. So many businesses and services got disconnected. Yeah, correct. You are right. Several cloud regions experienced major outages in the US central zones. And what are you asking? Why YugaBulls withstood that outage? I have a short answer and long answer for you. Okay, which one do you want to start with? The short one. The short answer is that you and I made the right decision to migrate to YugabyteDB. Happy, here you go. Literally, that decision saved us last week. Want the long answer? So, our YugabyteDB cluster is deployed across several regions. We have nodes in US Central, East, and West, meaning that a consistent copy of data is located in every region. The US Central region was used by default, it was a preferred region. But when the US Central collapsed under that heavy storm, the nodes from the East and West stepped in and started serving all the traffic. No outages. Seriously, how do you like it? Yes, you love it. Our investors were impressed as well. One of them gave me a call and then shared an article saying that one of the major US retailers also easily withstood that outage. Turns out the retailer runs YugabyteDB across multiple regions as well. And another board member said that our competition was down for 6 hours. Seriously. They did not take, multi-region deployment seriously. Okay, you want to read the article about the major retailer in the US? Sure, no problem. I'll forward it later to you. By the way, one of our DevOps engineers is doing an internal tech talk today. He will demo and explain why YugabyteDB withstood that outage. It's extremely useful. Come over, seriously. You need to see it. Okay, you'll come. Wonderful. And bye bye now. Talk to you later.
Alright, now let's figure what happened during the day and why our fintech service YugaBulls withstood that outage with no issues. To remind you, we run our production cluster of YugabyteDB in YugabyteDB managed. So this cluster is fully managed for us by the Yugabyte managed service team. And the cluster spans several regions. We have nodes in the US Central, in the US East, and the US West regions. So when that during that notorious day US Central region went down, our cluster remained operational because the remaining nodes from the US East and US West kept processing all the user requests. They had a consistent copy for all of their user data. So right now, today, right, the promise of this technical talk, internal tech talk, is to demonstrate you why actually YugabyteDB managed to withstand that outage in the US Central. And we are going to use our staging environment. For that staging environment, we use YugabyteDB Anywhere product. This product also allows us to deploy our clusters in GCP like easily and manage them, but also it gives us capabilities to decide what to do with our infrastructure. We use it for different tests, including fault tolerance related testing when we shut down different nodes and we shut down entire regions and zones. So right now we have a 3-node cluster running, and this cluster actually replicates what we have in production in YugabyteDB managed. We have a node in US West, we have a node in the US East region, and also in the US Central one. So right now this cluster is just deployed. Let's connect to this cluster. Let's run our application, YugaBulls, and generate some traffic. So that's our, again, staging environment. And for the connection, we will use the following properties. Staging, yep. So we are going to use Yugabyte cluster aware data source, and this data source is going to load balance requests among these 3 nodes, and every node is located in a distinct region. Also, it's good that whenever we decide to stop any nodes or regions, then some of these IP addresses will become unreachable because the region is down, but the driver itself is capable of, let's say, redirecting the request to live nodes, to live IP addresses. So these IP addresses, where did I take them from? If to go to our Google Cloud Platform console, here is we have these three nodes. We have nodes in different zones in different regions, and these are their external IP addresses that I'm going to use in my connectivity settings. Next, let's start this application. That's the jar file, the same application. We just use different connectivity parameters. Okay, we are connecting. Yeah, you can disregard these warnings. They basically say that some of the capabilities are not configured. In my settings, it's not critical for this demo. And we successfully connected to the staging environment. You can see the traits. The traits are coming. Let's go back to the staging. Let me refresh the screen. Yep, I wanted to see these numbers. You can see that requests are coming to every node and to every region. So everything is good. So next step, what happened during that snowstorm? The US Central region went down, and right now I want to simulate that outage. I certainly cannot discontinue an entire region through Google Cloud Platform, but I can simulate that by stopping all of the nodes from that region. And right now I run only one node in that, in the US Central one. So let's pick this node and terminate it abruptly. Done. So it will take a few seconds for the Google Cloud Platform to fulfill this request. And soon our cluster nodes will start serving traffic from that location. Yep, you can see that, what did I stop? Yep, I stopped US Central. It's being stopped. So if we refresh this screen, soon you will see that one of the nodes is down. If you go back to the application, you will not see any issues here. You can see that application still is capable of executing all of your requests. No any issues. New trades are coming, and we can see that the number of purchases, of deals that are closed changes consistently. No any exceptions. So here is, let's refresh the screen. So finally you see that the YugabyteDB Google Cloud Platform eventually could fulfill this request because it doesn't happen momentarily. All of the operations are scheduled, but right now you see that this node no longer processes the traffic, so which means that all of the requests are being processed by these two remaining nodes that are running in the US West and in the US East zone. Also, like in YugabyteDB, the cluster gives a chance to every node to return back to the cluster, and the nodes will wait for around a minute, letting a failed node to return. But this node did not return because it's down, and right now it's marked as unreachable in our window. Okay, and you can see that, but nothing happens with our application. Reads and writes are coming, and here is we don't have any exceptions. Cool, right? Isn't this nice? So this is actually what happened during the day, during that heavy snowstorm. The US Central Zone went down, but we had a multi-region deployment. We had nodes running in US East and West, and those nodes, stepped in and started serving all of the traffic. Which is excellent, and we didn't lose any data at all because the nodes from the East and West kept consistent copies of the data that was located in the US Central. So next, also what happens, that every outage is fixed sooner or later, and it took 6 hours for the cloud provider to recover the US Central Zone. So let's see what happened. Once that zone US Central was recovered, means that all of our nodes returned back to the cluster. So let's try to reproduce this as well. Okay. Yeah, that's a live demonstration, folks. No any cuts, no any staging. So sometimes it will take more time to return a node to the cluster or to do a specific operation. We want you to witness what actually happened during the day. Okay, looks like that Google Cloud Platform started fulfilling this request. And here is, I think that within a minute or so, this node should return back to our cluster. So let's get and see what's happening with our application. Again, I don't see any issues, I don't see any exceptions. The application actually processes different type of exceptions. For instance, if any of the connection is no longer unreachable, our driver, our JDBC driver, just removes this IP address from the connection pool, and it uses other IP addresses that are live to send your request. So like this type of connections and errors, we handle. Every application has to do that. So for instance, this exception, right? We insert different traits all the time, and if, let's say, any query is rejected because the connection is no longer available or an administrator terminated the connection, we basically execute your request once again. So it's all easy, and every application developer needs to do that. So let's check whether this node is back or not. Yeah, it said that it's live. Wonderful, and this node started serving this request again. Certainly when it joined the cluster back, it applied all the deltas for all of the data that was updated while this node was unavailable. But right now, once this kind of synchronization of the data was completed, then that node started serving all the requests again. Good. That's actually what happened during the day, and this is how YugabyteDB, our database, helped us to withstood those outages, and our fintech application YugaBulls was not impacted. Our customers continued using our service. So that's it. You want to see and you want to know what's going to happen with our startup company and with our service next, and how our infrastructure is going to evolve. Watch the next episode from this series, and certainly ring the bell and subscribe to this channel to get notified about new videos and new video content. See you soon.